Did you know that the Bible is a comic book? Yes, it is, and I'll prove it. Hello, welcome to Christy Grows Scarlet Pen. I am an author, creativity chaser, and book lover, and today I'm talking about one of my favourite subjects, which not everybody will like, but I don't care, and that is the Bible. And yes, the Bible is actually a comic book, and I'm going to prove it to you because I own it. So, the Bible comes in many different forms these days. There is like anime, manga Bibles out there, people. They are really fun and really cool, and they are definitely trying to reach different types of people where you're at, because the Bible is the only book that reads you while you read it. And there's a lot of really great stuff in there, even if you're not interested necessarily in knowing all about the Bible or Christianity or any of that sort of stuff. At the very least, the Bible is freaking Game of Thrones up in there. The New Old Testament is Game of Thrones. I promise. It's crazy. If you start from 1 Samuel and go through 1 Samuel to Kings, and it is just, it's all about the throne and who is the king and backstabbing and people are sleeping with their relatives, and I promise you it is Game of Thrones up there. There are actually a couple of different sort of manga or anime or those sorts of types of Bibles. I ended up with this one, the Lion comic book Hero Bible, which is why I promised you it is technically a comic book, although I would classify this more as a graphic novel. But the people who are behind it are, now if I can say these names, Siku, Richard Thomas, and Jeff Anderson. Thank you to those guys, because this is actually really fun to go through. And as promised, it actually is very comic book feel. There are all of the comic book stuff happening. What story is this? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So Shepherd King is referring to King David. So, but look, this is beheadings. That is literally a picture of beheadings over here. So we actually, there was a lot of beheadings in the Bible, let me just say that. David and Goliath, when he hit Goliath with the stone, he chopped off his head with his own sword and pulled up the head and went, "Let's go, King." Like, this is hardcore crazy in the Bible. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. Anyway, so there's a lot of really fun visuals that you can get that are very comic book-esque, with some of this intense stuff that goes down. This actually, look at this. This is a map over here. This is like, it's insane. This is, I think this is the baptism. It's the baptism of Jesus, the New Testament. But, so there is actually, this is crazy. I've forgotten about, oh my gosh. This guy full on looks like what, Loki or something. This is crazy. I love this so much. It's great. I think this is when temptation. This is the story of the temptation of Jesus in the desert. It's so much fun. And they're all listed at the top. They have the basic title. A lot of other Bibles that they've done are more manga and anime and those sorts of things. I liked, of course, this one. I was drawn to this one because it's comic book. But it's actually such a fun format. And it's so different. And sometimes, most of the time, a lot of people really struggle to read the Bible. There are chapters and moments and whole sections that are quite dry and difficult to get through, but with something like this, it makes it so fun. And I don't think they've got every last thing down in here, but this is a lot of content to come over. If you've seen the mini-series The Bible, where they had like this huge Hollywood budget to sort of get a bunch of the Bible stories in this mini-series, that was done really well too. But they had to miss out on so many great stories. They focused, pet peeve, they focused mainly on the guys' stories in the Bible. There are actually a bunch of stories about women, like Queen Esther saving the entire Jewish population, but that wasn't in there. I mean, I suppose they were following the lineage to get to Jesus, which I totally understand. But look, this has a lot of content in it. It's not super long, and the stories are quite brief, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a comic book version, like what do you expect? But it is so fun. This is the most fun Bible I own. Which brings me to my next part of the video, which is just how many Bibles I dang have, and it's a lot, let me tell you. I think some of them are actually even in the same translation. including my comic book Bible. I count it because it is a Bible. I have Are you ready? 7 Bibles. That is correct. These are all the Bibles I own. And it is 7, but it's sort of 7. So it's sort of like 6, but with the, I'll explain. But I have, these are the Bibles that I own. Some of them I have had since I was a teenager, and I'm going to quickly run through them with you to explain why I have 7 Bibles in my house. Okay, so we already went over my comic book Bible because that is freaking incredible. But one of the other Bibles I own is the 1 year Bible, where you read a portion of the Bible every day for an entire year to make it through the entire thing. So every day it gives you a little bit of the Old Testament, a little bit of the New Testament, a little bit of the Psalms, and a little bit of the Proverbs. It ends up being a couple of pages. They are this small font. Like, this is the Bible is huge, right? And it's hard sometimes to get through it. But I actually quite like this format, where I can just read little bits every day. Some days I don't get around to reading it, or I'm sick, or there's something going on and I have to catch up. Those are the days which are harder because it's a lot more to read. But that is why I have this Bible, because sometimes it is hard to just sit and read in a structure. I love structure and format and organization, so that's why I own this one, and I am actually going through it at the moment. I also own something which is called the Youth Bible. It is purple, which is my favorite color. It is apparently the New Century version, but because it's the New Century version, whatever version that is, it's written in a really fun way. I mean, it's aimed for youth, so it sort of has this really easy flow to it, which is nice. It's why I've kept it. But you also have these little bits in here as well. And a couple of the Bibles that I've had over the years, especially when you're a kid or like a teenager, they have these little cutout things where sometimes it's a story about someone, which brings context into what you've just read, and other times it's a devotional type of a situation. But these have these really cool fun things in here as well, and there was just something about this Bible that I really connected with, and I still connect with, even though I'm not a youth anymore. I am a young adult, but I still really love this Bible, and so I have kept it. The translations can give you different perspectives in different seasons, so I really enjoy this Bible. Plus I got it in like 2008, so long ago. A classic version of the Bible, which is super different though, is the Message version, and this is one of those versions where it is a lot more aimed at modern readers, a bit more of a artistic reading. It just has a beautiful flow to it that is so different. Noticing that a lot of these I keep because they're different translations and I get different things out of them. Okay, real quick, this Bible is still in the packaging. It is an NIV version, and it's white. It's the white fake leather look sort of Bible. It's actually it's supposed to be a gift award Bible. I got it because it just looks amazing. So I didn't need another Bible, I just wanted it. It looked really cool, and I actually am getting a Bible cover, which this will fit into. Literally, I really only got it because it's like white and it looked cool. And I'm not ashamed to have multiple Bibles because they look awesome. The last Bible that I have, official Bible that I have, and then I'll get into why I think technically 6, is one that I've had for a very long time, and it is a women's Bible. It's True Images. Yes, it's actually a women's Bible. I love this Bible. So it is, it's got this weird thing over here to protect it, I suppose, but that's a pain in the butt to have to open. It's actually, I think it's more for teenagers, teenage girls. But there is a lot happening in this Bible. So we have things like women's stories and understanding and context, and you get the basic like Bible stuff going on, but there's also a lot of these extra things that we have in here, devotions and stories from real girls that bring context. Like I said, with the Youth Bible, it's sort of the same deal. It's the NIV version as well, but it just has a beautiful feel specifically for women, and I really liked that as a teenager. I'm gonna close this. As a teenager, being able to connect as a girl, as a woman. I love that extra perspective that it gives, and yeah, it's just very special for me. This is like one of my first proper Bibles. Now, the reason why I said it's technically 6 is because of these babies. The Passion Translation, and it is a translation of the Bible which is passionate. It explores some of that aspect of the incredible love and passion that God has for us, and through that in the writing. And unfortunately, there isn't a full Bible translation for the Passion. They tend to do it in books. So I think that there is a New Testament or an Old Testament full translation, but for the most part they do it in books. So you have Luke and Acts, which are 2 chapters in the New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs, which are like the more they're like the songs that they had that were in the Bible. And so I love these guys. They're technically not a Bible, they are Bible books of the Bible, because they're called books of the Bible. But so they're in sort of separate. I count these 2, they're both the same translation. They are part of the Passion Translation, so I count them as one. The Proverbs are like the wise sayings, like, you know, the smart things in life to remember. But the Psalms are mostly King David's songs that he wrote. And I also write songs, and I connect with music and worship. And so for me, the Psalms I wanted desperately in the Passion Translation because it gives it a beautiful musical art feel, and it's just so incredible. I just love the translation so much. And it gives it just this really incredible flow, and you can really feel and read the poetry in there. You can still do that with a normal translation of the Bible, an NIV or a Message, but this just gives it another completely different element to that beautiful poetic writing style that he had. Even though we may not hear what the tune was, maybe one day we might when we're in heaven. I don't know, who knows. So as you can see, I have a lot of Bibles, 6, including the comic book Bible, which is one of my favorites because it's so cool. But I have 6 Bibles, all for different reasons, and a lot of them are different translations, some of them are the same. I love the Bible, and I just can't help having 100 million copies, and I will probably end up with more as I go through my life, and I've decided that that is a good thing, and I'm happy with that choice. So that is why I have 6 Bibles. If you're also a Bible lover, let me know what your favorite version is, or why you have a sentimental Bible that you have kept and that you care about. Let me know. I'd love to hear the stories about you and your Bible. And if you're interested to find your own Bible, I will put a link below to several websites where you can go and get them. Some of the specialty ones, like the comic book Bible, you might have to look for in a Christian bookshop or on Amazon. But you know, if you want the basic one, I'm sure there'll probably be somewhere near you. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the adventures.